Yeah, I'm ready, buddy.
All right, and I'll cut it from here. Ready, set, action. All right, welcome, Steve, the much anticipated Hamza's Corner. It's been a long time. I don't know if I invited you to Hamza's Corner last year, so this is your first time maybe in a couple of years. How do you feel?
Well, to be honest, I don't remember. I thought I did this last year, but then now you're making me question my whole livelihood, basically. But I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to talk about what I assume is we'll talk about the best team in the league. Talk about our year as a league. So glad to be here, and thanks for having me.
Definitely, definitely. Well, yeah, I did want to talk about this year's best team of the year. And how can we talk about the best team of the year without bringing up Eddie himself? I'm kidding. Oh man. I'm sure he'll get a kick out of that if he even watches these, but everybody else will laugh at his expense at least.
Is that he's still in the league? I was not aware of that. So.
Oh man. Um, so you are the winningest team in the league by points, at least. What was the method to your madness? Tell us a little bit. Tell us some of the schlubs at the bottom between Joe's and the Hood Rats. What kind of advice can you give them for next year?
So my advice is to do zero prep work and not really give a shit because this is all fucking luck and nothing matters and it's all throwing darts at a dartboard and we're all terrible at darts.
Oh man.
Um, Honestly, like coming out of the draft, I was not excited about my team. Like I was trying to avoid Derrick Henry this year because he's as old as we are, and I'm like, well, that's not a great sign. And he's turned out to he's running back number one right now, and I got the guys that I wanted, but I was not super happy about my team. But I've been healthy all year, knock on wood, and I think that's the difference. And you brought up, Joe B, who's I think you know, the number one boy, if you will, coming out of the draft that everyone thought he was stacked. And then Christian McCaffrey just decided that he didn't want to play this year. And, also Brees Hall realized that he was on the Jets this year. And those two things kind of took Joe B out of it. That's the difference between,
I was just gonna say this is the first year you didn't have, good old CMC on your team. And I bet you had a very well anticipated breath of fresh air, now having to wonder, is this motherfucker playing this week or what?
So I'll fact check you there, Hamza, that CMC was on Joe's team last year.
Okay,
So we
okay.
remember like literally every second of every Sunday, Joe was posting CMC gifs about his touchdowns.
You're
Um,
right. Right.
I knew it was coming. So like last year was really frustrating because I had CMC before and he was always hurt. And then last year I was pissed off because he went the whole year without getting hurt and Joe was reaping those benefits. And then this year just kind of feels like classic Christian. So yeah, I mean that's who he is. He's just he's not going to be the Iron Man of the NFL. And Joe B felt it this year.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, I think some of the biggest falls this year, I mean, Joe, to name a few, going from first to ninth. You have people like Tim, who was by ESPN standard ranked third, and went to seventh. And then, there's always that one guy, the one guy that you never know how he's gonna do, but he always has confidence in himself, ranks himself in the top four every year. And at least to the Casson standards, he's in fourth place right now. So, he might be the dark horse coming through. He has put up a lot of points. His team has put up a lot of points. In inconsequential moments. Said it. But he wasn't ranked too well this year, and the Goobacks were ranked dead last this year, and they made it all the way up to third. So, kudos to both of those guys for crawling out of the trenches.
Yeah, I think you did as much preparation for this call as I did because I'm looking at the site now and Brian Caston's in fifth place, not fourth place. I assume you were talking about the legal beagle himself, but regardless, it stands. I think this year's kind of a crazy year. I think you and I dominated the league, and like it honestly wasn't really even close all year long. It was kind of a boring year for at least us two because we were in front so far ahead. And I think we've got kind of a pretty even matchup between like especially three, 4, and 5, and really even 6, all kind of bunched up there with kind of the same team where they're not consistent. So yeah, we will see where the legal beagle ends up, and I think we're all watching the Cats and Bowl this weekend with the next 2 weekends with at least mediocre interest. So there's some.
And to be clear, I know that Caston is ranked 5th, but I was talking about how in his Caston rankings, he's ranked 4th. So that's what I find interesting is he was able to still make it into the whatever, I guess in the top 5. But kudos to him. I wish him the best of luck, but I hope his luck doesn't last past next week. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Great spin on that, Hamza. Great job.
So, while everybody else is, worrying about Thanksgiving games and worrying about, this week, what is the commissioner going to be doing on his bye weeks?
Honestly, probably not watching football, not thinking about football, doing stuff around the house, putting up Christmas lights, that kind of stuff. We've got obviously Thanksgiving coming up next week. I'll see some family and friends. Bears are on Thursday, so that may or may not be on. It's kind of up to my parents. We'll see. They've not been much to watch, but honestly, it will be kind of nice to unplug. I've got a couple busy weeks coming up, so just nice to take one thing off my plate and really gear up and focus up for week 14, where the real season begins.
Any is there anybody particular who you're like, I hope to face this person, or I hope I don't face this person?
So to be honest, I think it's been a 2-man race all year, and I think that's what we're gearing up for. And if all things go right, is the Sizzly Bears and the Hoops Swimpers to be facing off in the championship game. And I'll kind of be surprised if it's not, the two of us there. We've just been so dominant all year long, and that's the only thing I'd be, to be honest, nervous about. Because you got me, when we played during the season. Everybody else is just kind of meh, and if they win, it's luck. So that's the matchup I'm looking forward to is the big one for all the chips.
Yeah, I think any given Sunday, anything could happen, and I think between the Cassins, Sam's team, I can tell you, I'm happy I don't have to face them because those assholes knocked me out last year in the finals. But I do hope you take them on and take them on victoriously. As far as my side of the bracket, I beat Jeff. The Goobacks, I'm not too worried about. Although, what a Cinderella story that would be if I beat them twice this year and they came out of nowhere and fucking beat me in the semis. So, stranger things have happened where somebody in 6th place has made it to the finals. I believe I was a recipient of that one year. But I can tell you the Hornswogglers are excited to hopefully for the potential of their first championship this year. Looking really good. I as long as I can make it past week 14 with my buys, should be fine. But I think drafting, majority of my team from 2 main NFL teams, hopefully doesn't come out to bite me in the ass between the Eagles and the what is it, the Washington, what do we call them? This is the Commanders, but we call them the help me out here. What's the word I'm looking for?
I think I'm gonna leave you hanging. It's more fun to see you, be left hanging than help you out. So yeah, I don't know what. Well, you just listed a bunch of team names I've never heard of. So you said something about hog swishers or something. I'd never heard that before. But you bring up a good point. I think buys are going to have an impact. There's a really well written post on the league message board today by one of our league scholars that brought up the potential of changing our playoff structure because of the bye weeks. And the Sizzly Bears are also going to be impacted by the buys and having a couple key guys out in week 14. So something to look at for sure in the future. And honestly, I think the playoffs this year are going to come down to bye weeks and then big performances. And looking at kind of the others and Sammy and Legal Beagle and El Jefe and Gubax, it's just they've got some talent on the rosters, and who knows, you get a 30-point game out of one of them that could turn this league upside down. So we'll see.
Definitely. The one thing that I will say, as far as the commemorative Ian championship bowl that's going on right now, I think I would love to see a repeat. You love to see it. You hate to be the one in it, but I think for somebody that has had a player that's been deemed out all season for the last 5 weeks in his IR spot, rather than using it to pick up people from the waiver wire, I look at Eddie's team and I'm like, come on, brother. Like, get rid of these people. They're not coming back this year. Who knows?
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I think to call out Eddie on his negligence is absolutely true. But I will say that our new keeper rules make that a little bit more complicated, because we do have to think about next year and where people are drafted. And I've got a guy on my team that's gonna be out all year, and while I doubt I would keep him, depending on like what round he lands in, maybe there's some value there. So don't get me wrong, Eddie has no idea what he's doing, is not paying attention, and is not a good fantasy football owner. The concept in general of keeping guys, I think, is fair.
Definitely. Well, Steve, thank you for joining us on our first edition of Hamza's Corner this year for the 2024-2025 season. Geez, what year am I in?
Right, so I've got no idea.
Yeah, I hopefully look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks in the championship.
All right, God bless us as the Bears.
Yes, and to all the losers out there that have to worry about football for the next 2 weeks. All right, buddy. Take care. Have a good night.
All right, see you, Hamza.